Okay, today's gonna be a good one. It's special for me because this is why I do what I do. This is one of them times when I truly get to sit in front of somebody that I could say I am a fan of, like 100% a fan of. This woman, she's singer, songwriter, actress, Grammy winner. I mean, I can go on for days and days. Please welcome to VladTV, the icon, the legend, Miss Stephanie Mills. What's up, Miss Stephanie?
Hi, Shawn. How are you? What a wonderful introduction. Thank you.
You know something, Miss Stephanie? I could have went on for about 10 more minutes. Like, I'm telling you, when I do these interviews, I'm very, very honest. In my approach and everything I said, I truly meant. So this is going to be a fun one for me.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. And by the way, you're looking good, Miss Stephanie.
Thank you.
You're looking very good.
Thank you.
All right. Let's take it to the beginning.
Okay.
You from my hometown. I'm New York. I'm from the boogie down Bronx. But you hail from Brooklyn.
I'm from Brooklyn, New York, Bedford-Stuyvesant.
Do or die, Bed-Stuy.
Do or die, Bed-Stuy. Yes. And I started very early in the industry. I don't think people really know that I won 6 weeks at the Apollo Theater. And then I did Maggie Flynn on Broadway. That lasted about 9 months.
Okay, so were you one of them people who were always singing? You were always acting? Because just now you mentioned singing at the Apollo and Maggie Flynn on Broadway. Two very different disciplines. Was it always in your blood to do both? Or did you just have parents who were one of them parents who, what do they call them?
Stage parents.
There you go.
I didn't have that, but I always sang. And because my family thought I was good at singing, they took me out to auditions and things. So that's how I got Maggie Flynn. I auditioned for it. Also with The Wiz, but I did not want to audition for The Wiz.
You didn't want to audition?
Okay, I did because I had gone up for so many different things that I didn't get them, that I didn't think I would get the role.
How old was you when you got The Wiz?
17.
You were 17
I
when
was
you got The Wiz?
17 years old, even though they said I was 15.
Because you just mentioned, you know, you were you had done Maggie Flynn on Broadway. Do you know how long it take people to get to Broadway? Like, if you got The Wiz by 17, you wasn't doing bad, Miss Stephanie.
I wasn't. I was very blessed.
How much rejection was you getting if you did Maggie Flynn on Broadway and by 17 you had gotten The Wiz? Was you auditioning every week?
I was auditioning a lot. You know, in New York, there's always something going on, and I was auditioning a lot. And then when I was young, I did Captain Kangaroo, and I did The Electric Company and different other shows like that. So when you're working, you still are auditioning for things. And I didn't like auditioning. When I was young, it wasn't so bad. But as I got older, I just didn't like it. I didn't like auditioning for things.
Did you not like it simply because of the process or just the rejection?
I didn't like it for both. I didn't like the process and I didn't like the rejection.
Got you. You said earlier that you love to sing. You've been singing since you were very young. Is that your first love or is it acting?
Oh, singing and performing live is my first love. But, you know, I don't really consider myself an actress, even though I've just finished something that was really, really good called Pride. It's the 7 sins of, and it's going to come on Lifetime April 8th. And I played the part of Birdie, and we had a wonderful cast. We had nephew Tommy, who played my son Gabe, and Kia King, who played my granddaughter Ella. And we also had Erica Campbell, who came on and played Pastor Trey. So that was a wonderful experience. It was in Vancouver, and we were there for 17 days, and we shot the movie in 17 days.
Is that the one that Bishop T.D. Jakes is somehow involved in?
Bishop T.D. Jakes is the executive producer, and so is Derek Williams. Yes.
Okay. Very, and you still don't consider yourself a quote
Well,
unquote
now I
actor.
do. I think because I think I did a pretty good job in this part, so I'm really happy with it. But before I didn't. I'm more confident in my acting now than I was before.
Okay, like many singers who come from the inner cities and within our communities overall, did you start out singing in the church?
Absolutely. I was baptized at the age of 7 at Cornerstone Baptist Church. And yes, I started singing in church. That's the freest place to start.
Wow. Yeah, because your vocal range, that big voice coming out of that little body, you be like you be like blowing. I could easily see you in the front of the church going off.
Yes. I sang in the choir and then I used to lead solos. So yes.
Very, very nice. How tall are you? You
I'm
about
only
what?
4'11".
4'9", 5"?
I'm 4'11".
You're 4'11".
Yes.
My goodness. Them notes you be hitting, you would think that you are 7 feet tall.
I was blessed. God blessed me. He blessed me really good.
Do you have, and by the way, I should have asked you this earlier. Do you have any brothers and sisters?
I have, yes. There were 6 of us. There were 3 girls and 3 boys. I had a brother that passed away about 5-10 years ago. So there's 5 of us left.
Did anybody else get in the business, and can everybody sing like you?
No, none of them can sing, and none of them really got in the business. No.
Hold on. So you're telling me 5 siblings, it's 6 of y'all all together, and you were the only one blessed with that voice?
Yep, I was the only one.
Same parents?
Same parents. The same parents. I was the only one blessed.
I gotta ask. Sometimes it be mama done had 3
right.
kids
No,
with
it's the
somebody.
same parents.
Dad.
We all came from the same papa and mama.
Oh, good for you. Good for you. Okay. Let's talk. I wanted to go to the Wiz, but if my memory serves me correct, you had a record deal before you even got the part at the Wiz, correct?
Yes, you've done your homework. Yes, it was on Paramount Records, and it was a record called I Knew It Was Love. That's how Ken Harper, who was the producer of The Wiz, heard about me and asked me to come down and audition.
Really?
Yes.
So was it a single deal?
It was a single. Well, we did an album, but the single was out. But I only had one album with them.
See, before you, and this is the craziest thing, because most people don't realize this about your career. Most people don't realize this about celebrities that they see, how long they worked and how much time they put into the game before they really blew.
Right. They don't realize it.
Wow. Okay, so you have this record deal. How old were you when you got it?
I was 15.
15 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And back in them days, you used to shop demos. You used to have to go to the studio and spend God knows how much money. It wasn't like it is today where you could just set up a studio in your house.
Oh, no. You had to spend money. You had to go to a studio and, but the record company paid for that, even though it came out of my money eventually. But the record company paid for it.
Okay, so how did he even spot that you had that much talent to give you the record deal?
He heard me sing. He came out and heard me sing.
Was it at the Apollo, or was it at the?
I think it was at the church. He came and heard me sing at the church, or like I used to do little shows around town, at the grand finale and things like that. Yeah.
So this had nothing to do with winning the Apollo for 6 weeks straight.
No, I had won that way before.
And by the way, when you won that, what did you sing? What was you singing week over week?
I sang Who's Loving You by the Jackson 5 and For Once in My Life by Stevie Wonder.
Beautiful song. And that's when the Apollo was the Apollo. They were
that's
brutal
when the
up
Apollo was the Apollo. And weeks I would be there. You would see, James Brown had a week there, and the Isley Brothers and Roberta Flack, and I got a chance to meet them because the Apollo, the amateur night was on Wednesday nights.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I got
Yeah.
a professional booking there, it was with the Isley Brothers.
Okay, so after you won for 6 weeks, you got a professional booking with the Isley Brothers?
Yes, you get a professional booking with an artist. And mine happened to be the Isley Brothers.
That's dope. Did you get to meet them?
Oh, yeah. And then I toured with them for a little while.
Get out of here.
Yeah, I did.
All right. Okay. Nice. Okay, let's talk about The Wiz. The Wiz comes into your life. I know you said you did not even want to go down there and do that audition.
No, I didn't.
How's that come about?
That came about. I was asked to come down and audition. I just did not want to go. And I went to the audition crying with my mom. And I forgot what song I sang for the Wiz. Oh, it was Danny Boy. I sang Danny Boy for my audition. And Ken Harper loved it. I went down again for a second time. And then I met them at Jeffrey Holder's house the third time. And they told me I had the role as Dorothy.
Okay. That's big. You got the lead role in The Wiz on Broadway, the
On
Great
Broadway.
White Way.
Yes, the Great White Way, yes.
What are you saying to yourself at that moment? Especially considering you didn't even want to go.
I was very young, and I was shocked when I got the role. But I was very young, and when you're young, you don't look at things like, oh, this is a big thing. I didn't look at it like that. I just looked at it as this is a play. I'm going to go in and I'm going to sing, and they're going to teach me how to dance, and that was it. But I didn't look at it like, oh, this is big. I didn't look at it like that at all.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. I just wasn't, I love to sing. So I looked at it as just another outlet for me to sing and sing in front of people. I was already used to singing in front of people because I would sing at church. And our church was a big congregation. So I wasn't afraid. So I just looked at it like, okay, I'm going to be singing in front of lots of people every night.
Okay, how difficult is it to perform? Because you're not just singing every night, which for you, that's what you love to do. But you're also acting, you have to remember lines. How difficult is it to literally go out on that stage, remember these lines, belt out songs like Home, which all of us know? Is it a difficult process, or you just, after a while, I'm just used to it. I'm just used to going on that stage. It's what I do for 2 straight hours every night.
Actually, it wasn't that difficult for me because I had already been in a Broadway show. So I knew kind of the ropes, and I had done television and things like that. So I was already disciplined. But I will say this, doing The Wiz was the best education I could have ever gotten as far as a performing and doing something. You're doing 8 shows a week. So every night you have to find something to make it fresh, to make it new. So that's challenging. And I'm always up for a challenge. But I love doing The Wiz. I did it for 5 years.
The Wiz was something like 7 Tony Awards
It
over
won
the years.
7 Tony Awards. It surely did. Best musical, best director, best costumes, best choreographer. Dee Dee Bridgewater won for Glenda, and best music and best book.
Okay, so were you ever nominated for a Tony?
No.
Wow. But just to say I was in a play that it was a Tony Award winner.
Well, I can say that I won the Tony because it won for best musical. So that's everybody.
Do they actually give you a statue?
No, they don't give you. No.
They don't give you a statue?
No.
But you do got the bragging rights.
Yes. You're in a show that won 7 Tonys. That's a lot to brag about.
So I got to ask you, The Wiz went on, as we all know, and was turned into a motion picture.
Yes.
Why didn't you get that part?
Because Diana Ross wanted it. At that time, she was a huge star, and she wanted to play Dorothy.
Simple as that.
It was just that simple.
As much as I like Diana Ross in that role, Diana Ross was a grown woman. Like she was all like
She was a
she could have
school
been it. Well,
teacher. Yeah, Diana was 36 when they did that movie. And she
yeah,
played
I
a school
remember
teacher.
seeing it.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, she might be just a little too old to be Dorothy at that point.
Yeah.
So as simple as that. She's the biggest star. She wanted, and for just to give her credit, she was Beyonce before Beyonce.
Oh, you
Huge
can't,
mega
I
star.
don't think you can compare. I don't think you can compare Beyonce to Diana Ross. I mean,
No,
Diana
just
Ross,
in terms of stardom.
in terms of stardom, it's still different. It's still, I mean, Diana is glamour and Beyonce is glamour. It's just different. It's hip hop. I consider Beyonce hip hop. I consider Diana R&B and pop and just I consider her royalty. Diana, I've always wanted to be like Diana. And when I saw Lady Sings the Blues and I would go to her shows in Vegas, they were always so wonderful and classy and everything. Diana Ross is the epitome of beauty and class to me.
You and I were talking offline, and I agree with so much of your perspective on this one. Because I see Beyonce, I see her as everything you just said. I don't see her as hip hop. I don't.
Really?
She's
I see her
glamour.
more
She's
like hip
pop.
hop than anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I still think she's wonderful. Don't get me wrong. But it's two different generations. It's just totally different to me.
Got you. Okay. You know, The Wiz, the motion picture, it starred Michael Jackson. You did The Wiz on Broadway. You have a long history with Michael Jackson.
Yes.
Where did you meet Michael? When you were doing The Wiz on Broadway or when you were signed to Motown?
When I did The Wiz on Broadway, I met him because they came to the show lots and lots of times. And then I developed a friendship with Hazel Gaudy. And we hung out a lot. It would be me, Hazel, and Jermaine, and we just became friends, Hazel and I. And then Michael and I got close.
When you say they came to the show lots and lots of times, what are you talking?
They would come like
More
every
than-
time, more than they were at the show like a lot. They would come into New York. Every time they came into New York, they would come and do the show. Like some of the brothers would come, and Michael came an awful lot. Michael was always there, especially once he knew he was going to do the Wiz movie. He was there a lot. But even before that, he came to see the show a lot. He loved it.
Would he be backstage or would he literally sit in the audience?
He would be
as
backstage
a fan?
and sit in my box. I had a box in theater where sometimes when my friends or family would come, they could sit there. That was right above the stage. And he would come and sit there and then come backstage after and hang out in the dressing room and then go see the scenes that he really liked.
Oh, you and Michael, what are you, about a year apart?
We're a year apart, yes.
Okay, what type of guy was Michael back then? Because this is Black Michael. This is Michael brown skin, big nose, Afro Michael that we're talking about. What was Black Michael like?
Gentle. He was a gentleman. He was gentle, very kind, loving. I never heard him say a bad word about anyone. I never heard him talk down or negative about anyone. He was just very kind and very easy to be with, and he loved chocolate chip cookies, which I loved. Chocolate chip cookies was my favorite. But we would ride in the car and, up and down Ventura, and he would always want me to go into the movie house and get like popcorn and things because he said they're not going to say no to you. You're not going to let them tell you, no, you can't come in just to get popcorn. And I didn't. If they said no, I was like, well, I just want to get some popcorn. And I'd get it. And we'd get in the car and ride on. But he wasn't, Michael was not a punk. He was not soft as people think. He wasn't. He just didn't show that side of him a lot. But what he wanted, he knew what he wanted. He knew how to get it. He was very strategic in things that he did.
Okay, this is obviously Michael has been doing this as long as you. You
Absolutely.
both were children singing.
Absolutely.
Um, but this is before he blew. This is
This is
before
before,
Thriller.
yes, this is before all of that. Yep.
Okay. So at some point, you and Michael became more than friends. You know, I believe your son is in the room, so we will keep this very PG. But was this your first boyfriend?
My first boyfriend, you know, what young black girl didn't want to be with Michael Jackson or think that they were going to marry one of the Jackson 5? Every little black girl in America wanted to marry Jermaine, Tito, Randy, Jackie, and especially Michael. So when we became friends and I spent a lot of time with him, I was like in heaven because this was Michael Jackson that was on all the covers of Right On magazine and Ebony and Jet, and he had that big afro and he was so handsome to me. He was so handsome, but Michael didn't think he was handsome.
So even when you were with him, he didn't think he was handsome?
No, because he was suffering with some acne things and he didn't like that. And some of the fans weren't too kind to him when they would see him with his acne.
Okay. You just said, and you are 100% right. Every black girl, not just in America, but across the
Across
world,
the
wanted
world wanted to marry one of the Jackson 5.
exactly. And Mike looked in the mirror and did not think he was, I mean, for God's sakes, he's the youngest, he's the lead singer. He didn't think he was handsome?
No, he didn't.
Wow. Okay, obviously, you didn't have a crystal ball at that time.
No.
You couldn't see that Michael would one day become white. He would one day, and I'm sorry, I don't even mean it in a bad way, but you didn't see that Michael would one day change his complexion, and he would also not necessarily date women who was his complexion.
Right.
Looking back, are you surprised that you and Michael dated?
I'm not surprised back then because he was black then.
Mm-hmm.
And his mother wanted him to date black. You know what I'm saying? To be with a black girl. And they really liked us being together. But Michael wanted so much more, is why we probably went our separate ways. He wanted to be the biggest star in the world. And he wanted to associate with certain people that I didn't want to associate with. So we just went in different paths. We went in different paths. And then when
I actually
sorry.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I actually heard you say that once before. You said he wanted to associate with people you didn't want to associate with.
Yeah.
Who were these people? Were they executives? Who are these people that you are referring to?
Can I just leave it at they're people that he liked and would go to their houses and stuff, and I wasn't particularly interested in going. You know what I'm saying? And he wanted to be a certain way. You know, he wanted to be a certain way, and he lived his life the way he wanted to. You know, he liked a certain type of woman and thought that it would be best for him in his career to be with certain types of women.
Okay, so do you think the types of women, I mean, obviously he's no longer here, but the history books are what they are. He dated people like Tatum O'Neal,
Yes.
married
Lisa Marie Presley.
Lisa
yes.
Marie Presley,
Brooke Shields.
Brooke Shields, exactly.
Madonna.
Madonna?
Well, he took Madonna to the Oscars one time. I don't think they dated, but they went out that time.
Well, knowing Madonna, there's probably a little more happened, but okay. With that being said, you think it was more of a career move?
Yes. I think that he felt he would be more accepted
Understood.
in the world that he wanted to go in.
Okay, let's start.
in the world he wanted to dominate. I believe that
So
he felt that.
for him, it was important to dominate the world of pop music. Just
Absolutely. That's why he decided to call himself the king of pop, because Elvis Presley was the king of rock and roll. So he wanted a title like that.
got you.
And he wanted to live that kind of lifestyle. He wanted to be that type of artist. So he made himself look the part that he felt would get over, that he would become a huge star.
And as young adults, you guys would have these types of talks, and he would share his vision that this is where I'm trying to go with my life.
No, I just could see it in his behavior. I could just see it back then in his behavior. And when he would go to certain houses or invite me and all of that, I didn't necessarily want to go. I knew what direction he was trying to go in. I could just see it.
Okay. You start out in the church, and one of the things that I really love about you, and just seeing you over the years, you are unapologetically Black.
Yes, I am.
You love your people.
I do.
You love your Black brothers.
Yes.
You do. And you are not ashamed to say it and put it out there.
Right.
Obviously, you two were not going to go but so far. So
Right. So that's why I was like, but he knew it. I mean, I would call Michael the N-word, all the time, and he thought that was funny. And then when I would hang out with LaToya, he would ask her, well, how many times did she call you that? Because that was a word we used, So, yeah, I was a bit too Black for him. I was too Black.
hold on, Miss Stephanie. Did I just hear you say you called the king of pop the N-word?
Absolutely. Yes.
Go ahead, girl.
Yes. Yes, I sure did. He would think it was funny. He would laugh. Oh, it would make him laugh so hard. Absolutely, I did. All the time.
Oh my goodness. All right. Before I switch back, wow, I didn't expect that. I didn't, I didn't expect that. But why did I guess you guys broke up. He did what he had to do, and you stayed, and you eventually blew on your own.
Right.
Did you find it difficult? Because even as I was researching, you really blew in the 70s and 80s, killed the game. He took over, and this is the emergence of I Want My MTV.
Right.
He took over that station.
Yes.
You, on the other hand, I couldn't find, were you ever with any of your hits after hits, ever played on MTV or VH1?
Oh, never. I've never played on MTV, never played on VH1 because they said my videos was too Black. But Michael only got to be played on MTV because the president of the company at that time told them that if they didn't play his record, he was going to expose them for being racist. Because they didn't want to play Thriller and all of that. They didn't want to play it. And the guy, I forget his name, but he was president of the company at that time, president of Sony. And he made them play Michael. I never had anyone back then in the day that would go on the front line for me like that. Or push for me like that. Because every time they would present my videos to them, they say, oh, she's too Black. But I found MTV and VH1 extremely racist. Because how many other Black people did they really play?
No, I mean, we all know
It
In
was
the
it's a,
80s,
and
they
it
were
still
not
is.
playing a
I
lot
mean,
of black
it
artists.
still is very racist in our community and entertainment industry. Nothing really has changed. I don't know why people think things have. I don't see that things have gotten really better.
So you're telling me with hits like Never Knew Love Like This Before, I Feel Good All Over, I Learned to Respect the Power of Love, all of those big records, Home for that matter, you never got played on VH1 or MTV?
Never, not even on the VH1 Soul. When they used to do remember when they used to do VH1 Soul or R&B or whatever? Never. They always said my videos were too black. They were too urban. To the point where I said, "Well, I'm
And
a black woman.
that is the
What do you expect? I'm black. What are you talking about? What is too black?"
that is the code that they use. It's too urban.
Yes.
It is too urban.
Yes.
They're not going to hit you with it's too black.
No.
It is always too urban. And you're like,
Yes.
well, what does that even mean?
What does that mean? I didn't know.
Huh. Wow. You know, because even as I was researching this interview, I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen one of her records played on any one of those major networks.
No, or not even my songs crossover pop. Never Knew Love crossed over pop, but Home didn't. I Feel Good. And those were songs that, because to me, pop is what? You're popular. That's how I view pop.
Correct.
So, I mean, what do you mean my songs are not popular? Yes, they are.
Wow. Okay. Again, you really are catching your rhythm in the late 70s. Definitely blew it out the frame in the 80s. Big records, disco era. Did you used to party at Studio 54?
Yes, I used to party. Michael and I would go there. And sometimes I'd go with other friends and stuff. But yes, I used to party at Studio 54 a lot.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever get to meet my girl down in Summer? Because she was tearing up during that time as well.
I never got a chance to meet Donna. Never. I never got a chance to meet Miss Summer, no.
Okay, I just thought of something. When you and Mike would go to Studio 54, I know everybody and their mama was getting high. People are having a good old time up in there.
Yes.
Was y'all partaking? Was y'all part of the
getting
scene at that
high?
time?
No, not at all. We would stay in the booth, in the DJ booth, and watch everybody dance. We didn't even go down on the floor and dance. We just would watch everything that was going on because there was a lot going on in Studio 54.
Exactly.
Yeah, but no, we didn't partake in any of that.
Did you at least drink?
No, I didn't drink back then at all. No, I've never done drugs or drank. No. Now I drink occasionally, have a little wine or whatever, or Moscato and all that. But no, back then, no, never. Mm-mm.
What about Mike?
No, not with me. Mm-mm.
Huh. Okay, we spent a lot of time on Mike, and I want to get back to you, but I got to ask you this.
What?
You knew Michael, early Michael.
Yes.
Did he always enjoy being around children?
Yes, absolutely he did. In fact, I had a baby brother that used to go and hang out with Michael and stay with him in the afternoon sometimes when LaToya and I would go shopping. Yes, he always loved children because children were innocent. They didn't want anything from him.
So you seen the way his life turned out. Is there anything in hindsight, looking back in retrospect, that would make you say that those allegations had one iota of truth to them?
They had no truth. None. He was set up. Michael would never hurt a child, and not sexually molest them. He would never hurt a child.
Wow. And you can say that without beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Beyond a shadow of a doubt. Michael did not do the things that they said or claim he did. First of all, he went to court twice. They
Correct.
ramshacked his house. They looked up under everything. They didn't find anything. He wasn't found guilty neither time. He would never hurt a child. Never.
I'm so happy to hear you say that as somebody who knew him, not just a fan, not just someone from the outside or the media for that matter, because everyone, Mike, he was elusive. He kept a as high profile as he was, he kept a very low profile.
Yes, he did. Because he did not like the press. They came after him. They turned on him, and he knew. And that's why he liked children, because they were so innocent, He liked them because they were innocent and they didn't have an agenda. Most of the adults that came around him had an agenda. They wanted something from him, and he knew it.
Mm.
I think he was way ahead of his time.
What do you mean?
Well, he was a loving man, and he could relate to children because you got to remember he never had a childhood. Whereas with me, I worked and then I was able to go to school and be around other children. Michael, from day one, was rehearsing every day. He really didn't have a childhood. So I think I know he saw his childhood in the children that he were around.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I think he liked children.
It was so unfortunate for him. And again, I told you earlier in the conversation, I like your style because I remember when, what is it? Leaving Neverland aired on HBO. And right after that, Oprah did a special, and I believe it was on OWN. And she brought on two of the accusers.
Yep.
Now, like you said, Michael had two trials. Unfortunate for him, he paid, paid some of these kids to keep the accusations quiet early, and then he decided he would fight it.
Yes.
But where I'm going with this is, you were vocal and you spoke up against Oprah. Why was it so important for you to take a stand and make your voice heard that you did not agree with the fact that Oprah would give those guys a platform?
Well, how dare she? She had interviewed Michael at his home. And when people interview, it's just like with Gayle King interviewing R. Kelly, at a time when they're vulnerable and they trust Oprah because she was a Black woman coming to interview them. And at that point, people trusted her. But how dare you bring two guys that was in his court to both times and then give them a platform to say the same nonsense that they said in the court twice? How could you do that? That doesn't even make sense to me. And he's not here to defend himself. And I get so tired of us as artists trusting these Black journalists to take care of us, but they don't. They exploit us. And I don't like it. I felt like R. Kelly was exploited. Whatever he did, I don't know anything about. I wasn't there. I don't know. But I didn't like the interview with Gayle King either. And they came after her too, because you're not going to just sit up here and exploit our Black men. They didn't talk about Harvey Weinstein. They didn't talk about Matt Lauer. If you're gonna confront, talk about them. They're alive. They can defend themselves. Kobe couldn't. Michael couldn't. No, I do not like it. No, I didn't like it. And I spoke out against it.
Yeah, you were very, very vocal. And, I come from the hip hop community. And I'm going to preface what I'm about to say with all the respect in the world, toward Gayle and toward Oprah. They are older Black women, and they have done incredible things in the world of media and journalism. And they've done incredible things for our people. But I never liked how Oprah, and I'm speaking to her specifically because it seems as though Gayle is more inclusive of rappers. But at Oprah's peak, during that Oprah Winfrey show, she would not even bring rappers on her show.
No.
She literally would. I remember Ludacris went on the show. He won, as part of the ensemble for Crash. Crash got Movie of the Year. He was part of the cast. She had him on the show, but literally did not direct one question to him for no other reason than he was a rapper. And I never could understand why.
I don't know.
What do you think it is?
I don't know. I don't know that much about Oprah. I was a fan in the beginning of her career, but I don't know that much about her, to say why she would do the things she did. But if she talks about somebody that I love, I'm going to speak on it, if I don't think it's fair. Because I don't think anybody is above approach. You understand what I'm saying? And I think we have to be very careful and respectful, and we should give each other love. There's enough of the world tearing us down. Why should we jump on the bandwagon and tear us down? And I think that's why Gayle got such a backlash from what she did to R. Kelly, because she should have turned that camera off when he lost control. She should have just said, let's cut. But then people were saying, oh, that wasn't a good interview. Not to me.
But let's just say, for lack of a better way to put it, R. Kelly, he took advantage of the most vulnerable people out there. Maybe he got what he deserved. Maybe. But when she interviewed Lisa Leslie right after the death of Kobe Bryant, I did not understand that line of questioning, asking about the rape. And again, this was another time you were very, very vocal. And you did something that I love, because Snoop Dogg, he went all the way in. He literally went all the way in, called them all kinds of names that I won't repeat.
Right.
And you said, I stand with Snoop. I support him.
Right.
Did you fear any backlash?
No, I fear God. I don't fear any backlash from this industry. The only thing I fear is God, because he's the one that's kept me all this time. But I think that we have to show respect. Like you said, Kobe had just passed away. And the rape charge had nothing to do with this man losing his life. But Denzel Washington said something very profound when an interviewer asked him one thing. He said, journalists don't really care if they're right. They just want to be first. They just want to be the first one to spear the story. Whether it's wrong, right, or indifferent, they don't care. They just want to be the first and have the sensationalism. But I think the Black community showed Gayle that they were not going to take it. They were not going to allow you to spear his name in his death and badger someone in an interview like she badgered Lisa Leslie into telling her something about a rape case that happened that had nothing to do with the plane crash. It was disrespectful in every way.
Have you ever had a chance at all to just run into either one of these women?
No, and I don't, no.
Because they clearly, I'm going to say Oprah. They clearly, Oprah, she does her Legends Ball. She gives it up to a lot of the iconic singers.
Absolutely she does. Absolutely. But none of us are perfect. None of us are perfect, but I think that in this world that we live in now, it's such sensationalism when things happen. And getting back to R. Kelly, you can't just blame him. Those parents allowed those children to go to that concert. They allowed them to go to his house and everything. You can't just blame. He didn't go get in his car and go to their house and pick those young girls up. Those young girls came to his concert. And their parents allowed because they thought they were going to be famous. So R. Kelly, if he did everything they said he did, then he belongs in jail. I totally agree. Just like
Who, Weinstein?
Weinstein. You know what I'm saying? They deserve to be in jail because they play on the weakness of women. And they play on the fact that you want to be so famous that you'll just about do anything. I never did anything to do with it. I wasn't going to let them tell me, oh, if you do this, you'll do that. I never believed that. I always stayed true to who I was and what I wanted to do. If they offered me a part about a prostitute, I didn't want to play a prostitute, so I wouldn't do it. If they offered me things that I did not want to do, I would say no.
Mm.
And I went on a lot of auditions, and let me tell you this, I've never gone to a man's hotel to audition for anything. Auditions are usually in an office or at a theater. But I've never gone to any man's hotel. That's a whole nother audition.
So when you hear a lot of these women stepping up, and obviously the Me Too movement has it has brought a lot of men to justice. And when they're saying let's talk specific. Harvey Weinstein had some of the biggest actresses in Hollywood come to his hotel and audition.
Yes.
When you hear stuff like that, what are you saying to yourself?
I think it's sad what happened to a lot of those women. I think it's tragic. But I also believe that some of those women knew what they were going up there for.
Mm.
I mean, why would you go to a man's hotel room? Why not stay in the lobby? Why not go to and I'm just being honest because I've gone up for a lot of auditions.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that Harvey Weinstein did a lot of things. I know he did. But I just can't believe that all of them were so innocent. That's what goes through my head. And I'm only speaking about me. I just can't believe that all of them was just so innocent.
As you sit here and you say what you just said, you know it's going to be met with women, not men, women who look at you as though you are going against the movement itself. Do you, and this is what I love about you, because you're very, very forthcoming and you speak your truth. Do you worry about any backlash when you're saying the things that you're saying, especially when you're going against powerful entities?
I don't worry about it. I don't worry about it. I'll be 66 in, March 22nd. I've been in this business my entire life. I've seen a lot. I've heard a lot. And I think our problem with a lot of Black people is that we're so afraid to speak out that we go along with things that's just horrible. Now, the Me Too movement, I'm with. I don't think any woman should be violated at any time, any place, anywhere. But it's just hard for me to believe that all of them were so innocent. I just find that a little difficult to believe, especially when I've been in the room with certain people and certain actresses and certain things and have seen what's going on. I cannot sit here and say, oh, yes, that happened to all the women. I think I can't. I can't.
You know, even as you're talking, I know this has nothing to do with you personally, but Felicia Rashad, she, she has supported her longtime friend Bill Cosby for many, many years.
Yes.
And she has had similar conversations as you're having with me right now, this second. And even in her support, she knows and knew women were going to come in and they were going to tear her down. How could you? I know what happened to me, this, that, and the third. So I applaud you as a woman and people like her for everyone's not innocent.
Everyone's not innocent. And I've seen a lot where men are just approached in the most vulgar way. And it's just not, I can't sit here and say, and I know that because I supported her when she supported Mr. Cosby, because I've worked with Mr. Cosby years ago and I was friends with his wife and I was invited to his home and all of that. And none of that has ever happened to me. He's never approached me in a disrespectful way or anything. And I've been around Mr. Cosby a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So, I just think that things happen, and I'm not going to say that none of that didn't happen, but I just don't believe that all were innocent. And I think they have the right to say that I'm wrong. Well, they have the right to say that. But I'm not going to apologize. I'm not going to apologize for things that I say that I know are true in my heart. I won't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we live in a culture where people pile on. One person comes out and you're looked at as brave, and then it's a money grab. From there on, you hear women coming from the woodworks saying, me too, me too, me too. So, it's very interesting to have you sit here and speak your truth. And it's not taking any of these men off the hooks. If they did what they said,
then
what was said,
they deserve their punishment. They deserve if you violate a woman or anybody, you deserve punishment. But I also believe that there are a lot of men that are being set up. I believe that's very real too.
Yeah.
And men are very easy to set up because you guys are so vulnerable when it comes to women.
I sat with Tavis Smiley not too long ago, and he went through the same thing. And Tavis fought it. Tavis wasn't backing down. He was like, I'm clearing my name. And I asked him because, truth be told, PR people cost a lot. Legal defense costs a lot. Your handlers will tell you in a heartbeat, pay them, stay quiet, and let this thing blow over. And I asked Tavis, I said, why was it important for you to fight? He was like, it's my name. Like I didn't do what they said. I needed to clear my name. I have been a stand-up man in society for all of these years. And win, lose, or draw, I'm not just going to listen to these professionals tell me what I'm supposed to do when it's my name being dragged through the mud.
My reputation, my name means every single thing to me. That's really all we have is our name. And I'm not going to let anybody besmirch that. You're not going to lie on me. You're not going to scapegoat me. I'm not going to let you get away with that. And so that's why I sued. And we will see in the coming months or years, these appeals take years sometimes. We'll see if in the coming months and years I win on appeal. If I don't, at this point, it doesn't matter. Again, I'm back on my feet. I'm doing what I do, but the record will state whenever my time is up, the record will state that he denied it on day 1. He fought it on day 2, and every other day of his life, he fought it. I'm not going to cop to something that I didn't do. Just not going to do it.
And I had to applaud him for that.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of it's unfair. It seems so unfair. But you go on and you live, but that's why these journalists out here have to really know what they're doing and not go for sensationalism or to be the it person that got this interview and I did this and I did that and that was a great interview. No, it wasn't.
Okay, let's bring this back to music, your music for a second.
Okay.
I didn't expect us to take this turn, but it's such a pleasure sitting and talking with you and picking your brain, getting your thoughts on these things. How many Grammys do you have? 1 or 2?
I have 1.
You got 1 Grammy.
I have 1 of every award there is to have in music.
So you got Grammy, BET Award, American Music Award.
American Music Award, Hip Hop Award. Yeah, I don't really like awards. Are very, very nice, but they don't mean everything. Me singing to my audience and my audience coming to me see and they paying their hard-earned money to come see me. That means everything to me.
So you okay? So I got to ask you, because some artists love being in the studio. They're studio rats.
Yeah.
And there's other artists. I make records in the studios just so I can get up on that stage and perform in front of the people. You're saying I'm one of those people who just love to be on stage.
I love to be on stage. I love performing. I love to sing. I love to, and I sing every day still. I love to see where my voice could go and how I can ease in and out of notes and everything. That brings me joy.
So to this day, you still sing every day?
I still sing every day.
We talking singing in the shower?
Singing in the shower. As I'm getting ready for my day, I sing in the shower. Yep.
Okay, your Grammy, it was for Never Knew Love Like This Before.
It was for Never Knew Love Like This Before, yep.
I asked this to every artist that I have an opportunity to sit with. Did you know that record was going to become what it became?
No. Absolutely not. No.
I love that record, Miss Stephanie. Are you you didn't hear that record?
I didn't. You know what? You go in the studio as I do. I go in the studio and I do my very best. But you don't know what it's going to do. You don't know how it's going to hit people or anything like that. You just don't know.
Whoa.
I didn't know. I was pleasantly surprised.
I mean, to this day, that song is crazy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, to this day. Where do you keep your awards?
Well, they were at my sister's house.
So you wasn't playing when you...
I don't keep them at my house. They're at my sister's house.
So you was not playing when you said those awards don't mean much to me.
No, they really don't. They don't. I mean, I appreciate it. Don't get me wrong. And I'm thankful. But they don't mean everything. I mean, being able to perform and sell out shows and for your people to come and see you and scream and have such a good time, that means everything to me. Because people are paying their hard-earned money to come see me. That means everything to me.
I love that. I love that. And that shows. You can tell when an artist, and I've been doing this for a long time, working with artists for many years. You can tell when it's a money grab for them. You can tell when it's strictly business. I don't want to be here. I'm going to go and just give y'all just the bare minimum.
Right.
Because I got my check anyway.
Right.
So to hear you say what you just said, that's what it's all, that's the love. That's the love. That's the love. That's the love. Like for you to want to talk to me and we really talk about real stuff. That's the love. That's what I love. I'm not about the fake stuff.
almost said something else. I'm not about the fake. I like real talk, you know?
Okay, another one of my favorite songs of yours is Feel the Fire.
Ah, yes. That was written by Peebo Bryson.
Oh, Peebo wrote that.
Peebo
Nice.
Bryson, yes.
Okay. In obviously it's a duet with Teddy Pendergrass.
Yes.
What was it like to work with Teddy?
Wonderful. Oh, I miss him so much. He was truly a big brother to me. I love Teddy. There's never been another male singer like Teddy. He was tall, dark, and handsome, and just everything that women wanted. And there hasn't been anyone like that since. Teddy was very kind to me. He was very, he had his arrogance, but he was very kind. I'd say confident. He was just very confident in what he was doing.
And women loved themselves some Teddy.
And women loved themselves some Teddy Pendergrass. They sure did. They really did.
That was another brother that black women loved themselves
some
Teddy
P. Oh, my God. Yes.
Oh, my goodness. All right. At some point, as I was researching you, I don't know if he just was a young prodigy or Teddy Riley is older than I realized. But speaking of Teddy, you actually got in the studio with Teddy Riley, correct?
Yes. And when he was really going like ascending on up, I got with him. Yes. An incredible writer.
How old was he, would you say, at the time?
Oh, my God. Because I don't know how old Teddy is now. What is he? Is Teddy in his 40s now or 50s?
No, Teddy's in his 50s.
Okay, so I'm in my 60s, so he had to be like in his teens, 19 or 20 when we got together.
See, people don't realize just how long, some of their favorites been doing it and doing it at a high level.
Exactly. That's true.
What song did he work with you on?
Real Love and Fast Talk and something else. I forget what else. But those are the two. He did like 2 or 3 songs with me.
Yeah, Teddy Riley's a beast, man.
He's a beast.
He also worked with Mike. Yeah, he also worked with Mike. Teddy been doing it for a long time. Something too? Another one of these songs that I love from you, you had the opportunity to work with another great singer.
Who?
Power of Love, Miss Angela Winbush.
Yes, Miss Angela Winbush. That's my sister friend. Angela wrote Power of Love, Something in the Way You Make Me Feel, So Good, So Right. She wrote a lot of songs for me. Yeah, and produced them.
I didn't know she wrote Something in the Way You Make Me Feel.
Yep, she wrote that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So y'all just had a chemistry. When she was she writing for you?
Well, no, Power of Love was pre-recorded with somebody else already, had been out. And but Something in the Way she wrote for me. So Good, So Right, she wrote for me. Yeah.
That's amazing. I did not know she wrote those records.
Yes. She's very underrated.
Okay, what's your favorite record that you ever recorded?
Oh my God. It's hard for me to say. It really is, because I love Starlight. I love Power of Love. I love I Feel Good All Over. It's hard. It's hard for me to say.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you a funny story. I remember when I was young, and I'm not sure if you have any recollection of this, but anyway, my older brother was locked up, and he was locked up upstate. And my mother used to make me and my brother get up early, and we had to go downtown to take a bus. And we had to be on that bus something like 4:00 in the morning because the bus ride upstate was something like, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 hours. And I'll never forget, we was on that bus. It was like 5 in the morning. And a lot of ladies are going to see their men locked up.
Yes.
and they smelling good, looking good, and it was still dark outside. And it was this woman, and I'm a little boy at this time. It was this woman on the bus at 4 a.m. blasting "I Feel Good" all over. And to this day, every time I hear that record,
You think about
of
her.
her. Yeah, I think of her going to see her man locked up.
Wow. That's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Oh my goodness. Okay. At some point, you and Michael reconnected. He was doing, the Bad music video.
Oh, yes. He called me and wanted to use my best friend at the time, Greg Burge, to choreograph his Bad video. So I put them two together. But also my ex-husband, Jeffrey Daniel, taught Michael the moonwalk.
Hold on, because I was going to get to Jeffrey Daniels. You're telling me Jeff is the one who taught. You know how many people take credit for teaching Mike how to moonwalk?
I know, but I was there at the rehearsals. It was Jeffrey and some of his friends that used to pop lock and dance together, and they taught Michael all of that.
And you saw it with your own eyes.
I saw it with my own eyes, yeah.
Wow. Okay, you whispered something to Michael on that set. Do you remember what it was?
Did I? How do you know that?
I do my research, Miss Stephanie.
I'm not going to say it.
You act like you ain't even know what I was talking about. You know I
know
did my
exactly
interview,
what you was
my
talking
research.
about. I know exactly, and I remember exactly what I said to him.
But you're not gonna tell me.
I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to take it to my grave.
To reconnect? Because y'all had not seen each other in 10 years?
Yeah, we hadn't seen each other in a while. I hadn't seen each other in a while, and that was the first time I saw him, and he looked so different. And I whispered something in his ear.
And that is an understatement. He did look different. Now we're talking about White Mike.
Yes.
So
yes, we are.
okay, so Mike had become everything he always wanted to be by that time. This is the Bad album.
Yes.
Thriller had came, and to this day, it's probably the most sold album of all time.
Yeah, and they didn't even celebrate the anniversary of Thriller on the Grammys or the American Music Awards.
You're right.
Look how quickly they throw you away, and you become nothing, like, with everything that he contributed to the industry.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even celebrate him. And he should be celebrated.
Right. He should be.
Natalie Cole should be celebrated.
See,
Sammy Davis Jr.
now.
should be celebrated. They celebrate Elvis. They celebrate all these other people.
You're so right.
They should be celebrated. They contributed a lot to this industry. Made this industry lots of money. Changed the game in lots of ways. When Natalie did that song with her father side by side, that was incredible. She should be remembered. She should be talked about.
Yep. You're so right. I mean, it's nothing I can say. You're so right. Huh. Okay. First and foremost, when Mike did reach out to you, were you surprised?
No.
Because at that time he was on he's in a different stratosphere at that point.
Yeah, no, I wasn't surprised. I wasn't surprised. No, because Michael and I had a connection of a friendship that no one will ever be able to take away, or we really connected. So I wasn't surprised that he reached out to me, because even after that, we were all on that island that they opened, that hotel in Jamaica, I think it was.
Is that Atlantis?
Yes, we all went to the opening of Atlantis. And I was doing a rehearsal and someone came to me and said, Michael wanted to see you. I didn't go to see him because I was rehearsing. And then after I rehearsed, I forgot about it. So I often think about that. Like what did he want at that time? I think about that.
Mm-hmm. Do you think, because both of you guys were young when you were dating,
Yes.
neither one of you had reached the apex of your careers. Neither one of you had gone to where we know that both of you went.
Yes.
Do you think Mike sat and looked and said, wow, Stephanie's doing her thing, as you're dropping hit after hit after hit? Do you think he sat there and was like, I knew she was dope and I knew she had it in her, but I'm so proud of this woman because she's doing her thing?
I don't know. I think he probably did. I think he probably was like, I'm proud of you. I'm this, because he appreciates talent and he appreciates people that worked really hard at their talent, not just sit and, lazy but did the work. So he probably, I'm sure he wished me well and was proud. I think. I'd like to think so. I really don't know.
So you don't know if Mike was ever sitting there listening with Lisa Marie or one of them other women to some of your music, thinking to himself,
He could have been. He could have been. He probably was sitting there listening. I should have married her. I'm sitting here. No, I don't know. He probably, I don't know. Michael liked to.
Were you blowing up and If I Was Your Woman, Mike is listening to that?
I don't know. That would be funny. I don't know.
Oh, man. Okay. Jeffrey Daniels, you was his woman.
I was his woman.
Legendary group Shalimar.
Yes.
How did y'all meet? How'd y'all connect?
RCA and Sharon Hayworth introduced me to Jeffrey. And we went out on St. Patrick's Day, went to the movies. And then after that, we started talking on the phone and we dated for about 6 months and then we got married.
After only 6 months?
After only 6 months, yeah.
Good Lord.
Only 6
Okay,
months.
was you on him like, look, boy, I don't date. We doing this to get a ring so I can go down the aisle? Or was he like,
No, I think, well, I wasn't going to date him a long time. I wouldn't date anybody now a long time. But no, I think we were on each other. I think it was quite mutual. Yeah. And you know what? We're great friends till this day. He lives in Nigeria and we talk all the time. But we're great friends till this day.
So when you wrote, when you sung that song, rather, You're Putting a Rush on Me, it wasn't him proposing
Oh, no,
after
it wasn't
6
him.
months.
It wasn't anybody. It wasn't him, though. It wasn't him.
Got you.
But I think 6 months to a year, I think in 3 months, a man knows whether he wants to be with you or not. Whether you're
No,
wife
that's
material.
not true. That ain't true, girl.
I think so. At 6 months to a year.
You ain't a man. Of course you think that. I'm a man. No.
Oh, so what is it then? Tell me.
I don't know, but it ain't no 3 months.
And it
3
ain't no
months,
5, 6 years either.
And sometimes it is.
No.
Sometimes it is.
I don't believe
we gonna
that.
have to talk offline about that. I'm telling you, it ain't no 3 months. That I know.
Okay, it ain't no 3 months, but sometimes people know in 3 months. You can't say.
Yeah, that's true.
You can't
I mean,
say.
obviously y'all did. It's
Yeah.
6 months. You was tying the knot.
Right. But we were so
Okay.
young. We were too young to be married. We talked about that. We didn't know anything about being married and the pressures of him being in a singing group and women were after him too and me going on the road and stuff. We were so young.
Okay. Are you the jealous type?
I was back then. I was
Because
back
you
then.
look like you will beat somebody up.
Really?
Was you whipping
What?
Jeffrey
wait
out?
a minute. Wait. Why do I look like I would beat someone up?
Because you don't hold back. Honestly, because you don't hold back. It looked like if you
I'm my mother's child. My mother was like that. I'm my mother's
she
child.
was.
Yeah, she took no prisoners.
Yeah, but I'm gonna tell you something, Stephanie. That's the way you come off. You say what you feel, and I could see with all of the groupies and the hanger-oners and this, that, and the third. Boy, I can't do nothing about them, but you better act right.
Oh yes, I don't play. I think people should show respect. I show respect, and I don't tolerate disrespect.
But that's exactly why I said what I just said.
I think too many women accept a lot of things that they shouldn't nowadays, that I would never accept. Never. They accept a lot of stuff that you shouldn't as a woman, especially if you know your worth. The important thing is that you have to know your worth. Because I think it's better to be alone than to be with a raggedy man.
Preach, girl. Say that again for somebody who's watching this right now. You talking that talk. Say that
Really,
again,
I do.
please.
I think, I really do think that women should know their worth. And taking care of a man and letting him drive your car and all dropping you off at work and he going back home is not your worth. It's not your worth. And I don't believe in play marriage. I don't believe in for my mother, she didn't believe in living together. She like my sisters would go out with guys or my sisters started living with anybody, she would say, you're giving them the milk for free. Why should they marry you? They're getting everything that they want for free. And my mother didn't believe in it. She did not believe in it at all. And she would let my sisters know.
And you took after mama.
I took after mama because I married all the men that I dated. Like I was married 3 times. So I've never lived with a man. Maybe one time, I think. Yes, one time. But she didn't like it.
Gotcha.
But I do think that women give men too much and don't get anything in return.
I would agree with you. I would.
Really?
But that's it's sure. I mean, listen, you come from. Let's just look at you as a musician, as an artist. You come from an era like this day and age. It's nothing left to the imagination.
Nothing.
Like it is literally nothing left to the imagination. You can watch a music video and see all you need to see.
Exactly.
Forget being in a relationship with you see it all right there on the screen for the world to see.
Yes, it's awful.
Yeah, different time. Okay, one song, going back, me and you, we having a different conversation, but I'm loving it. One song that defined you.
What song defines? One song, Home. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that you don't think that one song defines you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially when I went back and did it and made it more urban.
Exactly.
I wanted it.
Go ahead. I'm so sorry.
I wanted my audience to really never ever forget this song. And so many people of The Wiz had passed away. And I wanted people to remember just how wonderful the music was from The Wiz. So I went back and did it and made it urban, more urban.
Was it your choice to go back and re-record that song?
Absolutely, yes.
So you said, I think that I can do this song and make it more quote unquote urban. We're gonna stick with that word for this interview. And I can really make it something that our audience is going to love,
I
that is
chose
going to
the
be
producer.
timeless.
I chose the producer too, Nick Martinelli. And I wrote the first part of it. Like when I think of home, I think of a resting place. I wrote all of that, and I wrote all the ad libs at the end.
Beautiful. That is your song. I mean, that that record, that is your song right there. When people hear that record, they think Stephanie Mills. And it has become, it's played at funerals. That song is so much part of our culture. Do you even look to yourself sometime and say, wow, a matter of fact, is this song everything that you thought it was going to be?
Yes. I thought home because of the whiz and the meaning behind it, that people would really, really get into it. That's why I wanted to re-record it for my audience. That's exactly why. I didn't want them to ever forget home, and I wanted it to be as big as Somewhere Over the Rainbow was for Judy Garland.
Wow. Well, it has become that. It really has. And, I have been to your show a couple of times. You close your shows with that record.
Yes, I still do.
You have to.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. I should have asked you this earlier. And you spoke so highly of this gentleman. Speaking of funerals and that record being played, when Teddy Pendergrass passed, how bad did it hit you?
It hit me really bad because I had just seen Teddy maybe 6 months before that. 6 or 8 months before that, we went down and did a charity thing for him. So it
down
hit
in
me
Philly?
Down in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And he wasn't sick. I mean, he just got sick all of a sudden. So it hit me pretty hard.
I know if he hit you hard, how about the King of Pop?
Oh my God. And Prince, I never knew that Michael was on drugs. He wasn't that when we had our friendship. And it was very hard. It was very hard to accept. Even Whitney's death, I didn't know Whitney's, but it's hard for me to accept such tragedy because they died not of natural causes. So that's hard. It's hard to accept.
Where were you when you got that news about Mike?
I was in Charlotte, and people started calling me. But who travels with a doctor on the road? I've never heard of that. I mean, to me, that was crazy. Why do you need a doctor on call 24 hours a day?
Well, he said he couldn't sleep.
No, I don't know. I don't know his behavior, and I'm not going to speak on Michael of things I don't know. I don't know what he was doing or anything, but I don't think that I know he didn't have the right energy around him, otherwise he'd still be alive. But he didn't have the right energy around him.
You also just mentioned Prince, and I know you did a cover.
Yeah, How Come You Don't Call Me?
Exactly.
Yes.
Did you have a relationship with Prince?
No, I didn't really know him. The first time I saw Prince was at the Roxy, I think, in LA. And he came over and kissed me on the cheek. And we've seen each other out, and he invited me to come sing How Come You Don't Call Me on the Soul Train Awards. But I didn't really know Prince. No, I didn't know him.
But that was such a big loss to the world.
Oh my God.
All of those legendary entertainers you just
Luther
mentioned.
Vandross. I mean, oh my God, yes. And Luther wrote Can You Feel a Brand New Day for The Wiz.
Wow. Yeah, huge losses.
Yes.
Again, and this is one of the things that I love about you. Sam Smith,
Hmm.
he actually remarked on a video of Michael Jackson, and I want to get his words right. He said that he didn't like Michael Jackson, but he loved that record. And I think he was talking about he said Human Nature was a decent song.
Hmm.
And you took it upon yourself to set him straight publicly.
Hmm.
First and foremost, how did that even come across? Like, how did you even get wind of that? Do you follow Sam Smith?
No, but I think, no, his friend put it on the internet. The other guy that sings, I forget his name, but he put it on Instagram and he was like, I don't like Michael Jackson and, I'm not a fan and blah, blah, blah. But I know that you listen to nothing but black music. I know you've had to listen to Michael Jackson. And I know that he listens to Sylvester. So I just I didn't like what he said about Michael. I'm sensitive about talking about Michael. And I didn't like it. So I addressed it.
I mean, you said, and I want to get your words right. You said something to the effect that don't come from Michael Jackson in all caps. You wish you sold as many records as he did, and you wish you was the king of pop like he was. You didn't miss no words.
No. And I stand by that today.
Did you see his performance at the Grammys this year with the devil outfit on?
Yes.
What'd you think about it?
I think that's who he is. That's what he wants to do. I have no problem with Sam Smith. I think he's a wonderful singer. I think he does a great job imitating Sylvester. But I just don't think you have to bring down somebody else to lift you up. Especially not Michael. I'm just sensitive about that. He's not here to protect himself. And it seemed like while he's deceased, all these people want to say stuff about him. You didn't say that when he was alive. You wouldn't say that while he was alive.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it.
Okay, before I let you up out of here, I got a couple more questions for you.
Okay.
I'm really enjoying my time with you. Rolling Stones, they released a list of the greatest 200 singers of all time.
Uh-huh.
Left you off it. Celine Dion didn't make it. Michael Jackson was number 86. What did you think about that list? Or do you even care?
I don't even care. Because obviously they don't know what they're talking about. I don't care. That's their opinion. But if you leave Celine Dion off, are you crazy? And Michael Jackson? Come on.
Michael Jackson was 86. I'm saying that number because I'm about to tell you where Adele fell in line.
Where?
Adele was number 22.
Mm-hmm. I don't care about stuff like that because that's somebody's opinion. That is somebody's opinion. Michael he sold more records than most everybody on that list. So, come on. That's somebody's opinion. You have to laugh at that kind of stuff. I take none of that reviews and all of that. I don't take that stuff serious because I feel like that's somebody's opinion. You have the right to your opinion. But you can't make me like what you say or think about what you say or you talk what you want to talk. And if I choose to ignore it, that's my prerogative.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, again, I am, just as shocked as you with some of these lists. This is the 50th year of hip hop. They just came out with, I think it was Billboard magazine just came out with the top 50 rappers of all time. And my God, all you could say is who wrote this list. So
somebody sitting behind a desk that don't know nothing about hip hop, just like they didn't know anything about singing.
You know something? Does it drive you crazy that groups like the Stones still tour the world selling arenas. And so many of our artists, number one, either never made arenas or to this day, they can't book shows and bring out audiences or just not celebrate it in the way that some of these legendary pop groups are celebrated.
It doesn't drive me crazy, no. I never, because I know the system. It's not set up for us to do what they do. It's really set up for us to fail and for them to just make money off of us. It's not set up for us to have longevity or have a career or to sell out arenas, or it's not set up for us like that. They never really use their machinery for us. And I learned that very early in my career. That's why I have peace. I do what I do. I enjoy what I do. I have no expectations at all. I just enjoy what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. But it's not set up for us for that. It's not. And that's why so many, I don't like to say sell out. I just think they go to the other side or go to the extreme or are willing to do just about anything.
I guess we'll leave it there, Miss Stephanie. This has been such an enjoyable experience. I love this conversation. And you had me cracking up a few times in this interview. So you got to come back and we got to do this again. But
I
God
will.
bless
I would
you,
love
girl.
to.
You have been to the soundtrack to so many of our lives. So keep doing what you're doing. Keep spreading the love and the joy that you do through your voice. We all love you, girl. Continue blessings and success.
Thank you so much for having me, Shawn. Thank you. I appreciate it.